Good morning, everyone. So for this activity, I'm going to just talk you through it. Basically, what you're going to be doing is arranging panels into a custom workspace in Photoshop, which you will then be able to name and access it whenever you load Photoshop. So if you go ahead and open up Photoshop, what you're going to need to do is go to the Start menu, locate Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop 2020, or if it's 2018 on your computer, open that, but hopefully it's 2020 by now. And wait for a minute for it to open. And once it is open, bear with me for a second, it opened in the wrong window. Once it is open, in order to access all the panels that we want to be able to use, we're going to need to go to Create New and actually get a new file. So go to Create New, or you can go to File, New. Either way will work to get you to this. And then we want to click on this print heading up here and choose Letter. And at a later point, I can show you guys how to do different custom things with the settings here, but the preset for letter is the same size as a sheet of paper. So we're just going to use that for now. We're not really doing anything to this file other than just using it to access the workspace items. So go ahead and click Create. And what we want to do first is go up to the top here where it says Window, and then go down to Workspace. And in Workspace, we are going to go ahead and choose Graphic and Web. And in my case, I have to go Workspace, Reset, Graphic and Web, because I've already done this activity. And we are going to now start arranging the different panels over here. So a few things I want to do really quick are define what each of these things is. So first of all, you can see each one of these tabs is a different panel. And in some cases, you'll see like multiple tabs next to each other that you can click on, and this is what's called a tab group. Right now, this one is expanded, meaning that you can see the full panel. But if I were to click on this double arrow, it would collapse it. And you can see in this icon bar here, there are 3 icons. Well, that's all 3 icons from these tabs. They represent those things. And you can also see that there are some that are individual, where there are not multiple ones. And they are full out. There's no icons associated with them to the right or left of them for that matter, because they are full-sized. They haven't been collapsed, and they're not dragged to this icon bar. So what this allows you to do is make it so that things you don't use quite as much and that you don't have to keep open all the time, you can make it so you can collapse them and revisit them as needed. So what we want to do first is I want to show you guys how to take a tab out of a panel group. So I'm going to take the History tab out, and literally all you do is you click and drag. And you can drag it anywhere on your screen. It becomes a floating panel. And so this floating panel is now removed from the group. And so what I want to do is click the double arrow, and you'll see it becomes a floating icon with the arrow to expand or the arrow to close it. We're not going to close it because we want to keep this one. But what we want to do is go ahead and click the double arrow up here to collapse that. You'll notice there is like a little line below that. So we got color and swatches. They're related to one another because swatches are just basically like specific colors from the color picker here. So we're going to keep that as a group. I like to keep things a little organized, just a little OCD on my part, I guess. But The next thing I want to do is I want to take the history panel icon, which was this one, and I want to drag it. You just drag it from the little gray line kind of to the top of it. And just drag it just so it's above the little color icon. And you'll notice when it's above it, it's a solid blue. When it was when you drag it down a little bit, it outlines a group. In this case, it would outline the color and swatches. We don't want it to be back in that group. We want it to be separate. So if you drag it until it's a solid line at the top and let go, you'll see there's a little divider between that and the other two. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to take the character, paragraph, and glyphs group here. The whole group, I want to take it out at one time. So to do that, if I click on this gray part and then I drag it out, now I can have that as a floating group. But I want to go ahead and put it below the color and swatches group there. So I'm going to drag it just below, and boom. Now that's a group collapsed to icons. The libraries the panel, we're not going to be really using the libraries, so I'm going to drag that out and click the X on it. So delete that, and do the same thing with the layer comps. We're not going to use the layer comps. And what that leaves us with up here on the right, where the docked panels are properties and layers. And what I want to do next is make it so that these icons actually have labels next to them, because I know personally, if I'm looking at this, if I'm new to Photoshop, I see an A and I see another A, I'm not going to know what the difference in the two things is, and I might get confused. So what I want to do is go ahead and hover over this left edge, so you have that double pointing arrow where it's pointing out two different ways, and then just click and drag it, and you'll see the labels appear. And you can also see, if you click, you can access these panels all the way down. So we have all of those. The next thing that I want to do is open up the window menu. You go up there and go down, you'll see there's a list of all of the different panels that are available in Photoshop. So I want to choose Actions is the first one I want to choose. And then I want to get Adjustments. So Window, Adjustments. I get Window, Brushes, and Window, Notes. And that should be good for now. So what we want to do now is drag the brushes group. So the one that has both brush settings and brushes, I want to drag that so that it is just below the glyphs on the text group here. So if I drag that down there and form that solid blue line with the shaded blue area, that should put that in there. And I can go ahead and collapse that. So I'm not going to be using brushes like all the time, so that's just something that I would probably put on that part. And then you'll see there's another group with Adjustments and Styles. And this is something that's nice above layers, because when you use Adjustments from Adjustments panel, it actually applies to specific layers for the most part. So if I click on this gray area over here and drag it, and then drag it between properties and layers, so there's a solid blue line, kablam. Now I have Adjustments and Styles as a layer group, as a panel group right above the layers. And then I want to do with Actions, I want to go ahead and drag that right up to, sorry, where is Actions going? Go to window actions. I want to drag the actions to the right of the properties tab. I want to actually put this next to properties so that it's a group. So I want that to be outlined. And then I want to go to notes. And notes we're going to stick right below the brushes. And that way you can access any of those things on demand. And so I have everything set up the way I want it there. What I want to do next is go to Window, and then go down to Workspace, and then go down to New Workspace. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to save this layout here that I have. So if I do that and then click New Workspace, and then go to where it says name here and type in Digital Design Default, and then check all three of these things, keyboard shortcuts, menus, and toolbar, and click Save. Now I have my workspace saved, my custom workspace. So now if I go to Window and go down to Workspace, you can see there is listed on there Digital Design Default. And then if I ever goof something up, if I haven't saved it, I can always go to Reset Digital Design Default. What I had also checked in there was the ability to save the different arrangements of like the toolbar and stuff like that. So later on, I can show you how to do that stuff. Now, finally, to end this lesson, I want to show you how to save and submit, because this is kind of a different sort of assignment. You're not really creating a product, you're just saving a workspace. So to prove that you have this arranged the way we want it, what you need to do is go to the snipping tool. So if you go to the Start menu and then just start to type in the word snipping tool, you'll see the snipping tool app appear. And if I click that and then go to where it says mode and choose, go to mode and choose full screen snip, and then click new, then you'll see a screenshot appear of your workspace. And so from there, now I can go File, Save As, and we want to call this Workspace. So if you just type in Workspace and put it in your Documents folder, make sure it's a JPEG file. Put it in your Documents folder and click Save. And then that's what you're going to submit to Classroom. So that's it.